As the universe would have it, just a few weeks ago, I was complaining about my mobile phone running out of memory and just the issues about it. Also, recently we had the presidential elections there. Catherine Connolly is our new commander in chief. And also in the media, I was picking up on the message of digital detox and just the three things coming together. It's funny how the universe works. When I think about it, 20, 25, 30 years ago, when we were first introduced to mobile internet and mobile phone technology, they sold it to us. They said that, like, this would be the internet is about sharing ideas, and the mobile phone is going to make things easier for us to communicate and transmit and receive messages. And recently, it's really come to a head because when I think about the internet back then, it was so wild and free. There was a lot of ideas could be shared, and a lot of viewpoints could be shared. And over time, we realized that, for example, in the Gulf War, the use of propaganda by the Allies to demoralize the enemy, to survey or to monitor and track the enemy as well. Little did we know that all that technology would be used on us over the last 20, 30 years. We saw from the Edward Snowden WikiLeaks that there's large data centers there just collecting all our data and monitoring our internet, our internet usage. And also, we also saw with Cambridge Analytica and the various background companies out there buying up our data, using it to figure out how we tick, and then selling it to different political parties and using it to sway our political opinions. And again, we saw that kind of warfare being used in Hong Kong, with the pro democracy protests being neutralized by pro Beijing type protests. And we saw the demise, and we saw how online Hong Kong pro democracy protesters would try to organize, and on the same way, at the same time, you'd see pro Beijing activists using that intel and neutralizing that message. Um, Recently, as well, we've seen phishing, vishing, quishing, QR code phishing, all these different types of scams being used on our phones, and um, it's quite a risk to see that they're deliberately targeting our elderly and our vulnerable young people as well, and through the use of different platforms like TikTok. Um, those algorithms, I've covered them before. It's very easy for them to sell and to sway political opinion, and I saw that in the book by John O'Driscoll, The Garda, as well. Like, he did say that, like, the criminals are using social media campaigns to sway our vote, and of course they're in the elections as well. As scary as it might find, the AI is now being able to produce document or video footage of our now commander in chief saying things that she never said at all, and is very, very convincing, and is very, very confusing. And it is a sign that technology is starting to run away from us. It's a sign that it's time to take ownership of what is going on our mobile phone and on the internet in general. Um, just recently I had an awful experience. I went to a rugby match in Galway and I lost my phone on the bus on the way home. And it shook me up because my Banking 365 is on that phone, my Revolut is on that phone, even my Milkman app is on that phone. I literally cannot function without that mobile phone. And fortunately, I was able to get my mobile phone back. But I did realize that, like, it was, I have an awful lot of my life um, depending on that phone actually working, and that I have access to my life on that phone. Um, and just on that, I bought a burner phone. I bought myself a cheap phone. I was hoping to get a decent deal on a decent Samsung or an Apple iPhone, but instead I got not an iPhone or not a Samsung. And I was surprised because the quality of the phone, it has good memory, but the camera, I wouldn't use it for podcasting. Um, and as a result, like when I tried setting up Revolut on it, the quality of the camera was such that when Revolut was asking me to take a photo ID of myself, the phone wasn't able to produce an image detailed enough for me to access Revolut. And in a way, it pointed me in the direction that what's the whole point of having Revolut on my phone, anyways? And what's the point of having a lot of those apps on my new phone? Um, and my new phone now is basically going to be a standby for when I go away. If I go hiking, for example, instead of bringing my regular phone with all the apps on it, I'll bring my burner phone, and I'll use it for sending and receiving messages, or if anybody needs to get in contact with me. And I find that it's a great way of realizing that I've too much on that phone, on my Samsung phone, and I'm better off with just a regular phone for sending and receiving messages when I'm away from home. Um, that brought me to the conclusion that yeah, that it's not necessary to spend a fortune on a brand new phone. Um, Instead, it would be better off having a cheaper phone for when I go hiking and whatever. And so if I lose it, well, at least I just lose the SIM card, but at least my Banking 365 is safely at home or in a place where I can access it. Um, on top of that, um, the from the technology point of view, I suppose what I'm trying to say is, um, Samsung and the iPhones, they're very expensive phones, and for the amount of use that you use with them, you're better off with a much cheaper phone for when you're out on excursions, and have your expensive phone sitting somewhere safe for you to access them. Um, Another point I want to bring up is AI. AI is turning next generation. Recently, ChatGPT, the developers of ChatGPT have allowed mature content to be generated on their ChatGPT, as it is available on other AI type programs. And what this means is you could have that AI pouring honey into your ear. Indeed, you can have an AI girlfriend or an AI friend pouring honey into your ear all the time, and it's very insidious. It is going to lead to issues in terms of people connecting with other people and people connecting with computers. The thing about the AI is it's zero empathy, -1 empathy, if anything. That AI program can pour honey in your ear, and with the flip of a switch, it can pour poison into your ear. So we have to be very careful with that. And indeed, there is European legislation coming through about the uses of artificial intelligence. And but again, we could save ourselves so much um, bother by taking ownership of it and realizing enough's enough. AI is being used for scams and swaying political opinion, public opinion. It's time now to just draw a line on it and just say, look, at that stuff is not good for my mind. It's not good for my mental health, and it's not good for society in general. So would be, I would recommend that we steer well clear of it, and just realize that when I think about it in the army, um, mobile phones, communications devices were simply about sending and receiving messages. And I do remember in barracks, like we were warned not to get access to the radio room, um, because basically the radio network was, if you were sending or receiving messages that were not intended for military use, then you would have there would be there was supervision, there were supervisors there that would chow down on you for use of the military net. So, likewise, in consumer networks, we should really only be using our mobile phones for sending and receiving messages, be it picture or media or text. And it really shouldn't be in the hands of vulnerable elderly people who are not so savvy with the technology. And again, there you go. Young people are vulnerable to internet, and the elderly are vulnerable to what's on the internet nowadays. So they really should just draw a line on it and take ownership of our mobile phone technology. So that's all. I think I've covered everything on that now. I think, yeah, I'm happy. That's all I have to say. Take care.